Hey YouTube, this is Korikai here, and I'm gonna do the Phoenix Wright review that I said I was gonna do a couple of videos back, but to me it doesn't seem like time worthy to do one review for one game and one review for the next game and one review for the next game when they're all in one series. But I won't be reviewing Apollo Justice because I haven't played it yet, and it's not really fair to like automatically assume it's good when I haven't actually given it a chance yet. So I'm going to review the first three games in the series that I have actually tried out, which are... This is the first one. Second. And third. Now, Phoenix Wright is a point-and-click adventure game, and what that means is it's not like adventure games like Mega Man where you like run around and like shoot everything up. It's, well, you're in the role of Phoenix Wright, which is a rookie defense attorney. Well, at least in the first game. As you gain more experience, you will like take more advanced cases later in the game. But when you start off in the very first game, you're a rookie defense attorney, and every case you do is a murder case. And pretty much each case is like a chapter in a story, and it starts off with a murder that you, the player, knows, but the characters don't. And it's your job to investigate everything that happens, piece all the information together, and then go into court, which is the second phase of the game, and listen to witness testimonies and find contradictions in their cases and present evidence to fight it. Now, even though that doesn't sound very fun, mind you it is. If you watch my DS collection video, you know that I recommended this game series, like very, very highly. Like, this game is so fun. Like, you wouldn't expect it to be fun. And it's made by Capcom, which is like known for putting out stuff like Street Fighter, like fighting games. So like when this game came out and I heard it was made by Capcom, I was like, really? Really? And it was like Phoenix Wright, Ace Attorney. And I'm like, Ace Attorney. And this is like the time where like the DS was making like some pretty weird games, like Trauma Center, which is a good game by the way. And I was like, there's no way I'm gonna play as a lawyer. Like, this game has to be like straight boring. That is beyond not true. I kicked myself for not playing this game when it first came out. And I sold my DS and I got it back. And I got my blue DS Lite, which I claim to be sexy, and it still is, because blue is a very sexy color. But this game, like every DS owner should own this game. You will fall in love with this game. You will fall in love with this game so hard. Now, in Japan, it's called Gyakuten Saiban. Yeah, that's what it's called. And it's actually a GBA port. So, like, the first three Phoenix Wright games are actually Game Boy Advance to DS ports. Apollo Justice, which is the fourth game in the series, is actually a DS exclusive game, but the first three games are GBA ports. But the graphics actually look really good for a DS game, even though it's really a GBA game. The graphics look really good. The gameplay takes in either 5 to 4 chapters, where each one, like I said before, start off as a murder, and you play through the eyes of Phoenix Wright. Like, every character you meet, you'll see through his eyes, like all their little wacky expressions. I think the biggest attraction of Phoenix Wright is the story writing. It is top-notch translation. It is ridiculously good, funny. It just has so much character. It's so well written. Like, you won't even care that it's so text heavy. Like, there's not really any like spoken text, but I'll get to that later. But it's so well written, like you don't care. And like, I can't get into games that are like that, or like RPGs that have like really bad stories, even though this isn't an RPG at all, actually. But this game is it goes over what you would expect it to be. Now, when you start off, you start the investigation phase. There's two phases. You start the investigation phase where you go to different places based on the people that you talk to. Like, you talk to more people, you can go to more places, or you can investigate things you wouldn't otherwise investigate. And you pretty much, like, you scan over each scene and you find evidence based on the person that you're defending. And then when you collect enough evidence, the game will automatically send you to the second part of the game, which is the courtroom phase, where you're the defense attorney, and the other person is the prosecutor, and pretty much you'll fight, not like a fighting game, but like you'll send back statements left and right, trying to counteract each other's statements, which is where the action part of the game is. The contradictions are pretty hard to find sometimes. I know that I've had to, go to game FAQs once or twice and like try to figure it out, but it's really fun and really engaging to try and figure it out. The first game has 4 chapters and 1 DS exclusive chapter that makes use of the DS touchscreen and the microphone, and each courtroom case uses the microphone. You don't have to, but like if you like want to press a witness, which is like get more information out of him, you can like yell "hold it" into the screen, or like if you see a contradiction, you can like pick a piece of evidence and you can yell "objection," which is like this big, like pretty much like the big noticeable thing that every like Phoenix Wright fan like knows the game for. Now when you get into the second one, which is Justice for All, they implement new things, and the most noticeable thing is called the Cyclops system, which pretty much is you have this jewel called the Magatama, and when they're lying to you, like you're trying to get more information out of them, they're trying to avoid you, you can pretty much like look into their soul, and if they're lying to you, they'll have a lock on them. And when you get enough evidence, you can break those locks, and you can get the information that you need to move on to the story. It's kind of like a hit and miss. It depends on the case. Like some of them, like it's rarely ever possible to break all the locks like the first time you actually talk to that person. Like you really need to actually like keep going on with the story. Like, oh, now that I have this piece of evidence, now I can combat them and get the information I need. I think it adds more depth to the game, but some people don't really like it. The third game has it too, and the third game actually isn't all murder cases, but eventually they become murder cases. Like the very first case is actually a robbery, and when you beat that part of it, like the guy that you're trying to protect gets convicted for murder. So it's like, well, I saw that coming. But it doesn't deter from the game. I really don't care that they're all murder cases. Like the story is so fun, and the character models are like so memorable. Like even for like even the minor characters, like. It's just a fun game. Now, the game itself is really hard to find because it's out of print, and Capcom didn't think it was going to do very well, so they made a limited release for the very first game. And they're like, oh, now we're making money, so we'll bring the second and the third and the fourth game out. And, well, they did limited releases for those too. So you go to GameStop trying to look for it, you probably won't find it right away, but if you can find one, I would suggest buying it. All in all, if you buy them used, it's about $40 exactly without tax. So I think that's kind of a steal if you get all free. Apollo Justice came out last year, so it might be a little easier to find, but I would still say that like go for the older ones first, because you have to play these in chronological order. Like you have to play Ace Attorney before you play Justice for All, before you play Trials and Tribulations, before you play Apollo Justice, because there's a lot of references in there that wouldn't make sense otherwise if you tried to skip just because you couldn't find the later game, or earlier game, sorry. But that is my Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney review. I actually had to look at the case, I got nervous, but yep, I give the game, I wouldn't say a 10 out of 10, I don't ever give games a 10 out of 10, but I would say an 8.59 out of 10. And that's my review, and goodbye YouTubers.